Witness the problem, a reflection of what I needed to do. This is embarrassing to say the least, but I need some advice on what to do. So, my wife is 23 and I'm 27. We have a 3-year-old daughter who is my life. We have been together for 5 years and married too. So, I catch her in a lie about her staying with her parents because I called there to talk to her and her mom said she was with a friend. So, once I spoke with her, she said she needed to talk. She told me she was unhappy and that the relationship isn't working and she went to her friends to clear her head. Still not believing this. I have always been here for her. I don't have a temper. I deal with things very positive and she doesn't. She's always negative and I see that she is miserable and she doesn't talk about her feelings with me at all. I suggested she go to a therapist so she can be happy with herself. She never went. Her way of dealing with issues is forgetting them. So, after she said she was unhappy, I knew there was something motivating this because she never does this. So, I start digging into the call records and I find she is talking a friend that I grew up with and have over my house on the weekends and comes on a couple trips with us as he doesn't have much family. I see tons of texts and calls late at night, so I confronted her. And eventually she tells me she has feeling for him. Blow to the heart. First I am mad, then as the man that loves her says we can get through this. She says she wants to work it out and I try and get through the pain of her have feelings for another man. I said she needs to stop the communication with him immediately and she agreed. I also texted him and said what he was doing was wrong and that when she told him she had feelings he should have cut it off right there. But nope, he plays along and sucks her in by saying he feels the same. So, over the next few days I'm really pushing the fact that we need to talk about things and she just gets angry and says she doesn't want to. Found another message 2 days later and she said she sent it when she was drunk. So that means it's okay. At this point I was being really pushy with her and try and get her to talk and realized after reading these threads she needs space to let her discuss on her own. So, I told her this and said I will be here when you're ready to talk. Over the next 5 days she continues to totally ignore me. She comes home and I had dinner on the table for her. She goes in the shower and I looked through her phone and that morning she sent a text to her friend that she was going to OM's house tomorrow and I went into shock. She got out of the shower and I immediately confronted her and said I wanted a divorce, that I couldn't take it anymore. So, she decides to go downstairs and cry all night. I didn't feel bad at all, why should I? So, we wake up, we don't talk, just a few words. I went to work totally not focused and called her mom's house where she was going for the day and asked to talk to my wife. She went out shopping and to dinner with a friend, her friend. This is what she told me she was doing before I found the text. So even after I caught her, she still acted. And I know for sure cause I tracked her phone. I work for company so I'm able to do that. So, I tell her parents the whole situation because I wanted them to know I tries my hardest and that I love them. They were upset and angry. I asked them when she got back to tell her she needs to stay there till I figure out what to do. She ends up popping into the house and I couldn't even look at her. So, all I did was tell her it's over and she just kept saying I'm not letting you go like this. I'm going to work this out. Now she is in begging mode telling me let's work this out. I need our family. It's just making me disgusted whenever she speaks. She's selfish and is comfortable with me. I need some support on how I can hold my ground with this. All I do is feel bad for her. How can I handle this? At this point I don't believe counseling will work, but who knows, we have never been. I come from a rough past and have been through a lot, so I've learned how to enjoy life and the smallest things it offers. She comes from a household where she was coddled and everything was done for her. Same goes for our living situation. I am the one who cooks, cleans, and handles all the responsibilities. I've just learned to live with that. It doesn't bother me that I have to do it. She shows no appreciation, but crap has to get done, so I do it. I'm just used to it, I guess. So now that I've told her to leave, she is looking at the big picture on everything that she will lose besides me. We have never been apart since our relationship started because of something like this, so it's tough for me as well, so I have to be firm and hold my ground. It's really hard, but I have to do it. But now she has the freedom to do whatever, and the wondering I will be doing is going to make me go crazy. I just feel like I'm dragging on the inevitable if I decide to try and make it work again. Both my wife and child are at her mother's house. I'm staying strong as possible. I'm meeting up with her on Sunday and take my daughter for a few nights. Even though it's her house too, I told her to leave because I have nowhere to go. She has her parents, all my family is in another state. She understands for now. Hasn't even been 24 hours. Thanks for the advice, and trust me, if she gets another chance, she will have to totally change her outlook on life and our marriage. I know I can do better, but giving up is hard. I know I will be happy eventually. I do have a 3-year-old daughter, and trust me, if I didn't, she would have been gone a long time ago. She still works and provides financially, and she's a wonderful mother, but provides little support for me emotionally. She's selfish. But I love her. That little and mean little party of me feels she can turn it around, but I don't think it will happen. Reconciling is possible, but she would have to change everything. She's not strong enough or willing. She just can't accept that she loves someone else because of her selfish needs. I am letting her go be happy and taking the civil approach. I'm the strong one here. I'll be happy again, just will take some time. Like people have been saying, I'm still young. If I don't get out now, it's just going to happen again. Thanks for the advice. I'm just going to stay separated until she says screw it. Let's get the process started. I have no problem holding my ground when she cries to me and begs for me back. I look at her in disgust and it's getting easier by the day. And it's only been 3. So in a week I'm sure I'll be looking forward to getting back into the real world and meeting positive people and taking care of my daughter. The good thing I must say is that we don't have savings. We are a young couple who have high taste. We make ends meet but live paycheck to paycheck. Her parents are on my side on this one and she's dad's little girl. So he will be paying for the attorney. I'm already okay with just taking things I need and letting her have the house. We have an interest-only loan as this was an only attempt move, so there is no equity in our house. I have a business that's in my mother's name and I manage, so I'm safe here. Already looked into that. Also, I have evidence of cheating that I would only use if she wanted to try and get nasty. I want to deal with this civilly as possible as long as she is willing to when she knows I'm not coming back. She knows I'm a great father and I can't see her trying to pull her away, but obviously I am ready for anything. So, here's a little update on how things are going. If you read my entire thread, you would know that my wife cheated with my long-term friend. Well, a few months back while my wife was at her parents', this friend and I went out to the bar and met up with a couple friends at the bar, one being a girl that works in the same building as me. Well, my friend that is now cheating with my wife decides to tell her that we went out to the bar and met up with this female. All we did was have a couple drinks and we went on our way. Well, now my wife is totally flipping the script and now calling me a cheater and telling me I cheated 6 months ago with this female, which never happened. So, I told her to call me and I told her exactly what happened and of course didn't believe that. Now she is calling me the cheater and totally putting the blame on me. I know I should have been honest with her in the beginning about going to the bar, but she's not the easiest to understand that I need to go out with friends as well. Either way, I was wrong and there's no justification, so I'll stop here with that. And she is now trying to kick me out of the house. This crap is crazy. It's crazy how I'm sitting here believing that I did something wrong. I know I just need to leave her, but these emotions are crazy. One minute I'm like, screw her, I'll be happy. Next minute I'm like, what did I do wrong? Then I don't even think about it. I get disturbed and angry, but not really anything unless she's around. I ask myself how a human being is capable of doing this. She really is a very sick human being, and I hope down the road she can find a cure for her disease and be happy for my daughter's sake. So, I come home tonight from work, and as I pull in the driveway, the W walks out the door and gets in her car and drives off while our daughter is upstairs. Walk into the house and makeup all over the bathroom counter and a receipt on the table showing purchases for all new underwear, bras and lingerie. This woman is totally crazy, or should I say child. I really hope she wakes up for our child's sake. I could care less about what she's doing. She's a straight moron. Hopefully I can post some positive things real soon. Always thanks for the support. Without this blog I would be lost. Little update, I'm doing a lot better than I thought. So now that my wife has totally flipped this around on me, she is doing ridiculous things to try and piss me off. Not working. 180 is in full effect. So, I come home last night and she has a bag on the table open. I look inside and it's lingerie she bought for the OM to throw in my face. Who cares, sick pathetic human being. And to top it off, I come downstairs in the morning after sleeping in the spare bedroom and her purse is on the counter wide open, and guess what's on top? Emergency contraceptive. I started laughing that she would bring it to this level and disrespect me. She's making this easier and easier on me every day. Figured some would get a laugh from this one. I post more comedy as it comes. For myself, I will be moving out to an apartment early January, so I won't have to look at this animal anymore. Thank God. We have never had joint anything. We got married fairly young, so this marriage is not your standard stereotype of a marriage. She doesn't want my debt and I don't want hers. She happy with going joint custody. When she wakes from this childish fantasy, reality will smack her in the face and she will be lost. And I guarantee it. And so don't her parents. She's just young and oblivious to life. She's acting like she's 16 living under Dad's roof. When I'm gone and she has to pull out the big boy gloves, mow the lawn, shovel the driveway, maybe it will hit her then. But by that time I will feel bad but be laughing in her face on the inside. So, she messaged me last night in total anger cause I'm letting her friends and family know everything she is doing. She states, "Stop talking about me with my friends and family and stay out of my life." What do you mean the life you started 2 weeks ago? This is the only part that is hard for me right now to understand. It's like she's a totally different person. It is unbelievable. It's the confusion that's affecting me. I feel as if this is a bad dream and I'm just awake while it's happening. Twilight Zone describes this the best. She wants me to play the game and I'm trying to do the exact opposite. I'm trying to be very careful with everything I say so she doesn't create another story and start to torture me even more. Don't have money for lawyers and pie. She's as well as I want to handle without lawyers. We will see if that happens. We spoke briefly on what we wanted, and that's joint custody. Her parents are awesome people and helped us a lot, daycare, financially when we needed it. And she is a good mother, just a piece of crap wife. We'll speak with an attorney, and I hope she doesn't turn into that. Luckily, like I've said previously, we make the same money. I'm fine with moving out of the house and taking minor possessions. Material things mean nothing to me. I will have those back. We have no savings and I have more debt. The only thing that she can really hurt me with is trying to take my child. But her selfish ass is going to want to see OM a lot, so I'm sure me having my kid won't be an issue. Child support I'm okay with. I really hope she doesn't start neglecting our child to feed her ego with this guy. I think about the OM being around my kid and it makes me sick, but I know I'm going to have to deal with that eventually. Fortunately and unfortunately, this OM was a childhood friend and I know for sure he's not a criminal. He's been around my kid a lot since he's been coming over and hanging out. Also obviously trying to bang my wife, and he's not a mean person but obviously a huge piece of crap for doing what he did. And my wife, of course, still blows my mind. Hope everything works out in the end, brother. So now my W and her co-workers and friends are harassing this girl I met out at a bar with OM for a couple drinks like 6 months back. What is this woman thinking in her head? She really wants to believe something happened with us, which it didn't. She messaged me yesterday while I was out with a friend, finally after going crazy in my house, and said she just wanted me to be honest about the girl so she could have some closure. You mean a justification on why you're sleeping with my friend? I'm not engaging at all. I'm just venting here. Minutes after they were sending messages to her Facebook, the female friend told me she was being harassed. And I said ignore it. It will make it worse if you respond, she agreed. I never said anything to my W about stopping or why she was doing it. About 8 hours later the W messaged me and said, I'm surprised your little girlfriend didn't say anything to you yet. She already did hours ago. All I replied with is I don't care. She's trying to get a reaction from me and I haven't given her one. It's hard but I haven't and I can tell it's pissing her off. Every day she tries pushing my buttons with something. And OM doesn't have a W. I've already contacted his close friends. I don't know how to contact his family. And by conversations we've had about his family in the past, they wouldn't give a crap anyways. I work in a mall and she works here too. She's like one of the dudes. She had a boyfriend at the time and know him as well. But I can't say anything to my W without her just saying I'm lying, so I don't say anything at all. Let her believe what she wants. I'm not going to sit here and defend myself when I have nothing to defend. Yes, I was wrong for lying in the first place and I'm kicking myself in the back on that one. Her best friend, who she has been talking to a lot since this happened, who is also married, is in the same situation. Unfortunately, her partner cut ties and went back to the W and they are just feeding each other. As sick as it sounds, I can't wait till she snaps out of it. If she even does, and comes begging for me back, and just laugh in her face. Only if it's after the divorce is over though. Got to be careful. Some of his close friends, not really mine, were on his side saying what am I going to accomplish by exposing him. I totally just disregarded anyone who was backing him up. The others were appalled and couldn't believe it, as he never seemed to be this kind of person growing up. I'm sure some of them contacted him after I exposed and said something to him, because the next morning is when he decided to tell my W I cheated. That's when crap hit the fan. So just a little update. Been a few weeks since I posted. Things are definitely looking and feeling better for me. I moved out officially on January 1st and moved in with a coworker in an app down the street from my WW, so I could be close to my daughter. I have completely done the 180, even though my goal is def not R. I am just trying to handle this as civilly as possible. We haven't moved forward with divorce yet, as we are still both transitioning with our new lives. She is still seeing other men regularly, which is not a shocker to me, but I'm letting her be happy. We have had 50-50 with our daughter and, believe it or not, sat down and made a schedule together that works for both of us. 2 days with me, 3 with her, 3 again with me, so it's working out and doesn't seem to be affecting our daughter. If she wants to see one of us, we live literally 60 seconds apart, so it works out. As for me, I've been going out and meeting new people on the days I don't have my daughter, and I'm realizing how unhappy I was even before I have come to the conclusion this was all for the best, and I have pretty much moved on besides a few minor flashbacks that happen. Other than that, everything's peaky. She has shown signs of regret, but it seems fake, like she wants to know I care in the slightest bit. Not feeding into her games, staying with the 180 and becoming happier by the day. I want to thank everyone who has given me advice during this process. If I didn't find this blog, things would have gone totally different. I guarantee it. Her parents were not happy with her decision one bit. They hate other man and would never allow him in their residence. They know they can't control their daughter in her decision-making, but can say whether he can come to their house. I am still and will always be very close to them. They helped me move my stuff out and even gave me some furniture for my new place. My daughter stays there quite a bit when we work, so I've been picking her up and staying for dinner a few times. My relationship with them will never change. Besides, we won't be spending holidays together, which probably makes me sadder than actually losing my wife. I feel the only difference between now and when I was living with her is the fact I live somewhere else. We were disconnected for quite some time prior to this, so the transition was much easier. My comment: do yourself a favor. Never lose that connection with her parents. Grandparents pass when they think they will lose access or time with their grandkids. Keep doing them right and they will do you and your kid right. And their daughter will never hear the end of it till they die. And that support, my friend, is priceless. Story 2. My wife and I have been married for almost 22 years and we have a great marriage. Of course, we had our minor disagreements but no real fights. We have 3 great children and I have a job that allows her to not work full time. We have a great bonding life and for mid-40s are both in top shape. She doesn't realize it, but she gets male visual attention anywhere she goes, especially at the gym. It started in Nov with a friendship she formed with another dance instructor. She is a fitness instructor. She started attending his classes and then working on improving her dancing with him. Turns out he is, in my opinion, somewhat of a predator with a crappy life. He used his massive problems to turn my wife into his personal counselor. I can't talk to anyone else. I can't tell his girlfriend, because she wouldn't understand the way you do. You get the gist. His life sucks and my wife are a very empathetic person who responds well to that type of neediness. So, in late November he makes a pass at her and they kissed. She said she was shocked and confused and pushed him away, but at this point the friendship was important to her. Her dancing was improving, her classes were getting bigger, and she felt like she was truly helping a friend. To be honest, she was enjoying the limelight, fantasy, attention she was getting from him and all the other women in his classes. There is some important background here that I need to explain. We met in college when she was a freshman. I was her first and only physical partner, and although I asked her about that early on in our marriage, I had not asked if that was an issue for probably the last 5 or so years. So, coincident with the OM making a pass at her, she started thinking about having only one physical partner for her life. This seems to have caused a dilemma, fantasy, midlife crisis, and was a strong factor in the affair. The next step was a stronger pass, including him flirting on her. Again, she was freaked out, but the curiosity grew. From there it became a PA with 4 occurrences of a good time, all with a protection. This all happened is the second half of December and earlier this year, with the last occurrence the week of January 7th. I was getting suspicious, and I am a very perceptive person. I started questioning the time she was spending with the OM. Even though most of the time they were together was focused on dancing, it was still too much time. We had 2 or 3 discussions about it and they all ended with "we are just friends." The week of January 7th I started getting really worried, so on Friday I checked her cell phone for text messages. There was only 1 text, so it was obvious to me that she was deleting them and keeping a secret. She has not ever kept any secrets from me in the 20+ years of marriage or while dating before that. I was very worried and checked the cell phone records online. I discovered a lot of short phone calls to the other man's cell phone. At this point I am worried, but it was late and she was already in bed sleeping. I let it go for the night, but the next night I noticed she was texting with someone, so I discreetly took her phone to see what was going on. There was a few texted to the OM. It was during the playoff football game, so most of it was referencing the game, but the last text confirmed my gut feel. Although not overtly physical, it was more flirty and funnier, but I still confronted her about it over dinner. I made the mistake of doing that in front of the children, so she initially denied it. We went out for a long walk, and after about 10 minutes of it was an inappropriate friendship and there was some inappropriate touching, she told me the truth. I have not felt that type of pain since I was a child. Alcoholic father, so I am no stranger to pain and lies. But I never expected it from my wife. We got the children in bed and then talked the entire night. She gave me all of the details save one she was too afraid to discuss for fear of me kicking her out. We talked and cried for hours and discussed all the painful details. It really seemed to me that she was as shocked as I was, almost like she had an out-of-body experience and suddenly realized it was her that did those things. I saw true guilt and genuine remorse in her eyes. Now I have to say that I am a very black and white type guy. Maybe that is due to my childhood, but I am very strict about who I associate with. I once left a job because my boss lied to me, and I don't play golf with people who cheat. That's just me, so my very first reaction was to kick her out. So, as we talked and cried on D-Day, I was determined to find a way to kick her out. Amazingly enough, as we talked, I realized how much I truly love my wife and knew that there was no way I could ask her to leave. Despite the overwhelming pain and sorrow, I know in my heart I cannot live without her. So, after demanding all of the hateful details, the physical stuff and non-dirty stuff, I started making a plan to save my marriage. She was forthcoming in all details except that it actually happened once in my house. She was afraid that first night that would have put me over the edge and I would have ended the marriage then and there. She was very adamant that she would do anything to save our marriage. I mean anything, including letting me have an affair, getting a boob job, signing divorce papers very favorable to me that we lock in a safety deposit box as a deterrent. But don't file unless she has another affair. No contact with OM, full transparency. STD test, and she suggested MC. I don't think two wrongs right anything, so the affair doesn't interest me. Just not something I would do, and I don't think it would help the situation. So, after talking and crying all night, I say I would at least make an attempt to save the marriage. We made love around 8 in the morning, crying the entire time, and then finally got a few hours of sleep. Strangely enough, we have made love every day since D-Day and still have the magical attraction we always have had. I called the OM on Sun night and ended the relationship. He is a scumbag that wasn't interested in a long-term relationship with my wife, so I didn't expect or get any resistance from him. My wife followed up with a NC letter and very stern discussion about how he wronged her. There will be no additional communication between the two, as I am watching her cell phone log all texts and have a tracking device on her phone. She welcomes all these things and will do anything I ask on the transparency front. We attended MC on the WED following D-Day and had a long and productive session. We had a follow-up session on Sat, D-Day plus on week, where she told me it happened in our house. Although I understand her hesitation at telling me initially, it did cause me to question my initial desire to save the marriage. It caused me to question every detail of the affair, and for the last week I keep asking her painfully detailed questions. She has answered every question without anger but with guilt and remorse in her eyes, along with a lot of tears. We have not disclosed this to anyone but our best couple friends who live out of state. I would prefer that no one ever find out, and I think it would literally kill my mother because she is in poor health and absolutely reveres my wife. Also, I sold my wedding ring to a gold dealer. I felt it was tainted and I couldn't wear it anymore. My wife agreed to this, but I told her when we feel we are really on the road to full recovery, she can ask me to remarry her, and she can buy me a new ring as the symbol of our new, and hopefully stronger, commitment to each other. At this point I understand what happened, understand how it happened, and I even understand how she could compartmentalize it so that she was not considering the enormous potential consequences of her actions. I question for all of you, and my purpose in putting this painful story onto paper is to ask for advice. I am, as I said, very black and white and also have a very difficult time with forgiveness. I want to know if you think I am crazy for wanting and trying to save my marriage and still hopelessly loving my wife even though she was a WS. I have no fear of her ever doing this again. I should have more trust issues, but I can see the pain, regret, and guilt in her eyes. We are going to continue MC and do our best to put this awful mess behind us. So, am I crazy for giving my wife of 22 years a second chance? She agreed to a poly and actually asked to move it from later in the week to tomorrow. She already scheduled the STD test. I will report results to when I know more. I also got a VAR today but haven't installed it yet. Days later, wow, passed the poly with a 5% chance of being deceitful. Asked the relevant questions. First affair. Affair over. Protection used. Times in house. All answers were as she already told me. Positive first step, and I feel bad about making her do that, but she made her bed. Pun intended. She still works at the same gym, but other man has left for fear of me kicking the crap out of him. Updated status. 3 weeks post D-Day. First off, there will never be a boob job. I would never allow it, and she would never actually go through with it. I just wanted to use the idea of a boob job as a litmus test, similar to the poly, to see how committed she is to do anything to save our marriage. Currently, I feel I have the entire sad story, and it was confirmed by the poly results. The occurrence in our house was slightly less egregious than first reported. She didn't plan it. He stopped by her, was in the shower, and he went into the house and into the room uninvited. She got out of the shower to find him there. It happened on the bed, mid-afternoon, and although horrible, was not the pre-planned, under the sheets, all night long type of incident. At this point I am committed to R with serious MC. 3 sessions already. GPS phone locator. VAR in the house. Car and gym bag, and my get out of hell free card, a safety deposit box with the poly results, her letter of what happened, and the divorce papers. At this point she has had no contact with the other man, and we have had daily discussions on the entire affair. She has fully accepted responsibility for the affair, even though I was initially quick to blame the other man. We are discussing and re-establishing our boundaries within our marriage. She is doing some really serious soul searching, and I too am looking at what I was not providing in the marriage to make us more complete. I have extensive experience with addiction, alcoholic father, enabling mother, recovered alcoholic myself, sober 18 plus years. And I don't see an addiction here in this situation. I may be wrong, but I don't see my wife as a serial cheater. Addict. I am going to be hyper-paranoid for the next few years, and I may be changed forever, but at this point we are going to move forward. A quote that sums it up nicely. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Friedrich Nietzsche. I will update you all in about 6 months, assuming we stay on track, or immediately with my divorce. Dating plans if there is any indication of a reoccurrence. Part 2 of my story, weeks later. I need some advice on how I personally get over the pain and obsession of her. Immediately after D-Day I was heavily focused on R, but I am now having a difficult time getting past the P. This is not because of her. Indeed, her actions are exactly as you would expect from someone truly trying to repair a marriage they damaged. Specifically, she has been regretful, remorseful, has guilt and shame. We have done some exposing to a couple that are very close friends, my mother, her parents, and her sister. This has helped us both, and although it was embarrassing for both of us, it was the right thing to do. She has been fully transparent in everything. The story has not changed since D-Day +2 at the MC, and it didn't change before, during, or after the poly. I have full access to everything: texts, phone log, GPS tracking, FB, email, and all financial transactions. I have VAR that I move between the house, the car, her purse, and her gym bag. There has been nothing but remorse on the recordings. She will spontaneously cry at times, ask how she have lost her mind, etc. That was more prevalent the first 2 weeks with the VAR and has now basically stopped. Her conversations with her sister and other that know are actually great to hear because she is remorseful and takes responsibility for what she did. I hate listening because I now feel almost dirty listening to someone else's private conversation. But whatever, how do you all find time to review all the VAR recordings? I had to get an extra one so I could rotate them and listen to one on my way to work. There has been absolutely no contact with the OM. I have been very unpredictable lately and have followed her to work, new job, come home at odd times, and watch the GPS tracker constantly. At this point I believe her that she has no interest and is committed to R. That's why I am back. We separated yesterday and I sent her to live with her sister. I told her that I need to get my head on straight and make sure I want R. She was devastated but understands that I am having a difficult time moving forward and will do whatever it takes to help me heal. 2 days without her has not helped me at all. I am still living in hell with constant thoughts of the details of the affair. I do not want a divorce because I truly love my wife, but at this point, I am 50-50 on R and divorce now. Anyone have any advice on how to at least get on the road to forgiveness? I know this will take time, but I really feel like a month has been an eternity and I am moving backwards instead of forwards. My comment: this is one of those experiences where OP thought he can just black out the memory and forgive her, and things actually get worse from that point on, because you know there will be always a gap in between you guys. There's no going back.